Alright, welcome back to Black Butler, Anime Review, Episode 26. Yeah, I thought basically they released a new episode for I Left My Eric Carnage on my former students explore Dungeon Depths, except it did not come out. Nope, they decided to delay it by a week for some reason. My guess is maybe the dub wasn't ready yet. I don't know what happened. I was really hoping this series wouldn't do this, but it did. And because they had delayed it by a week. So, unexpectedly, after I did a light novel adaptation anime, it's like, oh, this is next. Black Butler. Okay. Yep, we're here reviewing pretty much the 10th episode of the season. Yes, 10th episode of the Emerald Witch arc, which was his butler mopping up. I'm also going to be discussing the 216th chapter of the manga. This episode adapts pages 15 through 26 of chapter 101 and the entirety of chapter 102. And for some weird reason, not sure why in the world they did this for, we had no recap, except this one was 1 minute longer than last week. If you're curious, how long was the recap last week? 4.5 minutes. This week, 5.5 minutes. And then you have about 4 minutes of it, 3 minutes of an opening, 3 minutes of a scene, and then you have a minute of credits, and then here's the thing. At about 9 minutes, I'm halfway through the episode already, and that's when the main story finally starts up. Yes, at the 9-minute mark after the cold open, which is simply put picks up right where the last episode left off. Wolfgang basically fit up. Diedrich, of course, and mentions, oh yeah, the fact the true threat is actually not the gas, is actually something else. And you have him, Cecile, Bard, and Snake all running. First, they're running from explosion. And then it turns out what the heck the thing is they're running from. It's a freaking Panzer. A German tank. Yes. Now, of course, Cecile basically, he already knew about the fact stuff like this was happening in the UK, but he did not know that the Germans basically would be this advanced. Yeah, he had no idea. This I thought was quite interesting. Yeah. Oh, by the way, Mei Ling is not in this episode. Basically, a lot of this. Also, our Emerald Witch, she's actually not in the episode. Her outfit is, but she's not. If you're curious, did the anime cut appearance out? No, they did not. Yep, so they run from the Panzer, and then Cecile trips over because of the fact he's not wearing shoes. And then Sebastian finally shows up with a case full of samples of the mustard gas. Of course, he gives it to Diedrich, which goes him, Snake, and everybody else had to go to the train to run away. Wolfgang figures out apparently they were going to kill him much all along, despite her killing her experiment. Yeah, so they're running from this Panzer, which is operated by female soldiers. Yes. Which I'm sure at the time, in the real life Germany, if they actually were operating these things, they would not have women operate these things. It would probably be all guys. Sexism. Yeah, but the only reason why in this show you have German women driving this tank is because this is an alternate Queen Victoria. This is alternate history. That's basically what this is. So then you have Sebastian fighting against a tank. First he kicks it, does nothing, and he runs away from the turret machine gun fire from the sides, which I have seen this before by a German tank in the film Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Yeah, they had a tank just like this, where it had a side thing fire like machine gun on the side. Except I think it also had a small mini shout. So then, of course, basically fires once again. He's able to avoid it. And then he proceeds to punch the snout up. And we had the weak spot on top of the roof. Where he then proceeds to punch the roof. And where he lands his fist is inches away from touching this woman's breast. I'm like, damn. Knowing Sebastian, it's like, yeah, he was going to blow up. I'm sure he probably had an inkling of a desire to sleep with all these women. I'm sure he probably was thinking that, but probably like, yeah, this is a mission. Even though these women are all hot, but he probably he could have if he wanted to. After all, he did this back in the Book of Circus Arc. Yeah, he actually slept with one. He actually slept with the one of the female villains just for seduction purposes. Yes, just takes her to her tent and they basically sleep together. I would have not been surprised if he did that. And then, thanks to Bard preparing canned grenades, they blow up the tank, presumably killing all the women. I would not be surprised, given this explosion. They probably would have had, like, he does basically punch a hole in the roof. Now, here's the thing. I'm sure a tank like this probably did not have the roof have an entrance. I would not have been surprised if they somehow, probably before this, they took out some infantry really easily with all the same grenade too. Now I'm sure a tank like this, they probably didn't see it per se, but I'm sure it probably is like a door underneath there probably is like a door underneath like the floor, or there could have been like a back door that could get out. They probably could have survived, who knows. And like, oh yeah, I think I'll wrap up there, and then after the credits, then we see someone recording one of the maids, one of the soldiers, basically time of birth, time of death, and turns this guy is a Grim Reaper. Which is interesting because this also happened in the previous arc with the appearance of the Undertaker. But this is the first appearance of a Grim Reaper who's not the Undertaker in quite some time in this series. I think not since like probably not since season 2 of the show. That's probably when the last time they actually showed these Reapers. And of course, for some weird reason, I'm not sure why, but is it just me, or it's like the Reapers, their sights are basically garden tools. Though he uses a freaking chainsaw. Though the Undertaker actually uses an actual scythe, while everyone else basically uses garden tools. Yep, but overall, really good episode. I like the fact that you have someone watch this. So, there's that. We're not done just yet. Next we have the 216th chapter of the manga, The Butler, Tallying. And he's like, the wonderful human world. So then we have this guy treating, I think looks like a priest robes. Yes. Oh. After the bellboy treats him, then of course they proceed to and of course tell figure how much people can fit in this hotel. And then basically the whole thing's about crash this hotel, and of course they and apparently it turns this way like they have 600 guest rooms, but not enough to basically to have the length him may have not suffice for staying here. So 32 numbers of guests. So at the chat, they go to the lounge. Then we have to order some food, some tea, and like I was right, there are numbers everybody. So then they proceed to leave. And of course, like tea is ready. Then of course they go outside, and then they come across a amusement park on a pier. Which of course, yes, this is like Coney Island's like this too. I've never been to Coney Island, but I've seen pictures from my dad's been there years ago. So it really is a theme park built atop of the water. Yep, and they go to a show where they have kids performing this play about this girl Ariel, about to return to status. Basically, it seems like it's a very similar story to what Cecile's going through, and Then after basically just thinking he was like, oh, maybe ride the electric carousel roller coaster. You're getting bored. Perhaps taking matters to ride the carousel. Never. Any more time spent these child's fruitless will prove fruitless. Let's move on. As you wish. And then we see this mysterious person watching Sebastian and Cecile as they leave. Yep. Oh no. Really good chapter. I give it a 10 out of 10. So that's pretty much it for particular video. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications. See you all tomorrow for my next video, which will be, well, I'm an Outbreak Ruin. So Magic, I'm going to hopefully get a chance to do this one because I did not get today. Because I had to get through, I thought it was 5 anime. It turns out actually just 4. Surprising me. The final episode, Yashahira, Dark Elf, She's in the World, My Hero Vigilantes, and probably a comic corner or two. Okay, next video. Bye.